Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to the Manggcast, where I try to come up with a witty intro every single week. Except this one. Alright, so we have some video game stuff, we have some movie stuff, like usual. I am again recording this on Friday night because my Saturday is booked, so I apologize in advance if some huge piece of news breaks tomorrow and I'm too late to discuss it until next Saturday. But what are you gonna do? I doubt it. Alright, so let's start off with some numerical-based news in the world of video games, and that is related to The Witcher 3. CD Projekt Red, or Projekt, or however they pronounce it, I don't know. They have announced that Witcher 3 Wild Hunt has sold about 6 million copies within the first 6 weeks that it was on store shelves. 6 million copies. It's quite a bit. What about, for reference, what about other games? Well, if you go to the list of best-selling video games of all time, you'll see that, I think the lowest one is about 15 million. So, I mean, even just looking at that, that's pretty good for The Witcher 3. Skyrim has sold about 20 million or so. Grand Theft Auto Vice City sold 20 million. What else? Grand Theft Auto 5 sold 54 million. So it's not quite on that level. It's quite a ways away from that, of course. But Grand Theft Auto 5, I mean, that shit's global. Witcher 3 is it's like a deep fantasy RPG. 6 million is pretty good, especially in 6 weeks. The entire Mass Effect series, as of around last year-ish at this time, has sold about 14 million copies for the whole series. I don't know if that touches upon the bundled trilogy or anything like that, but Mass Effect 2 sold about 4.8 million copies itself. So that's pretty crazy to think about. According to a random source that I found, apparently the previous 2 Witcher games sold about 2 million copies combined. So this just blew that out of the park. But so a lot of people are bringing this up and discussing the fact that okay, so you take, a company takes a series, they take a game, they put their heart and they put their soul into it, and they're upfront about it to their fans, and they don't try and dick anybody over. Free DLC, and they just put out a quality product, and look at that, it sells a lot of copies. I'm not sure if that's really evidence for anything, I mean, yeah, putting out a quality product absolutely is important for selling copies. I mean, that's important for any sort of anything. But I mean, it's like there are companies out there that absolutely put their heart and souls into things and make quality products and don't screw over customers, and they're not selling, millions of copies. But then you also have companies that don't put any heart into it, that dick over everything and everybody, and it's just like, oh, well, you want any form of extra content at all? Well, give us $25 and maybe we'll give it to you. And it's like, oh, well, here's 50 million copies sold, stuff like that. I don't know if it's really evidence for anything. I feel it's kind of like there's probably a word for what's happening here, where it's people like, oh, look, they did a good job, and they're not evil. Let's praise them. And I'm not harping or anything or hating on CD Projekt Red, because I think they are a good company. They did put their heart and soul in it, but I'm not sure. It's one of those times where it's like, well, we have no really way of knowing how it would have affected sales in any way if they had been, you know, less upfront with their fans and had maybe charged for DLC or things like that. But end of the day, it's a good game. People saw that and people bought it. I mean, to sell millions of copies, you're not really basing things around if people heard that you're a good company and your quality. You know, you basically are basing things on, is the game good or not? You know, Witcher 2, people say, was a good game. How come that game did not sell 6 million copies? You know, it's the same company. They didn't screw people around on Witcher 2. How come that didn't sell 6 million copies? So I don't know. It's not really a big deal. It's just interesting that people are bringing this up. That, oh, you know, CD Projekt Red, the great company, they put out a great product. There you go. You don't have to be evil about it. It's like, well, no, of course you don't have to be evil about it. But I don't see what that really proves. But good for them. I guess now they're probably sad that the Witcher is kind of ending now that they're really hitting their stride. But I guess they finally hit a good groove for their development to put out a really high quality product that a lot of people enjoy. So interesting to see where they go from here. Again, I think during my Witcher Let's Play, I said I hope that they make a modern day Witcher, because that would be badass, but we'll see. Alright, moving on. Just a quick piece of news. This one is not going to be really extensive because there's not a whole lot I can say about it. Firaxis and Take-Two announced that XCOM 2 is being delayed from November of this year to February 5th of next year. So that's about a 4-month delay or so. This is the message that they put out. Hello, XCOM fans. We want to give you an update on the release date for XCOM 2. We've set a high bar for the sequel, and the entire team has been working hard to make sure we deliver a great follow-up to Enemy Unknown. We just need a little more time to make it the best possible game. With XCOM 2, we want to have more depth, more replayability, and more investment in your soldiers, and this extension will give us the time we need to deliver on our promise to you. We appreciate your patience and continue to support as we move towards February. Good luck, Commander. You know, it's interesting. I mean, this is not unexpected, but it's interesting that it is not unexpected. So many games nowadays seem to be delayed, and it's kind of par for the course at this point. Now, maybe, here's what I'm thinking. This is not educated in any way, shape, or form, but I'm just going to throw this out there. What if they delayed this game purely for the sake that this November is somewhat crowded as far as video game releases? Coming this November is Black Ops 3, Fallout 4, the new Tomb Raider, and Star Wars Battlefront. As well as in October when we get Halo 5 Guardians. And the new Assassin's Creed. There's just a lot of stuff going on. Now, some of those are console games, not really PC games. But it's a market. It's a video game market. And it's crowded. And XCOM 2 is kind of like... I mean, it's not a niche title, I guess. It kind of is. Compared to something like Fallout 4 or Assassin's Creed or something, it's kind of niche. But it's fairly large. But I guess if they were delaying it specifically for that reason, I don't know if they would have pushed it all the way to February. But I guess if they had just pushed it to December, they'd be called out on that bullshit. It's like, oh, you need a month? That's it? So it's like, no, we'll take 4 months. And then we'll see what... Because February, not a whole lot happens in February. We'll put it in there. I don't know. That's just me saying stuff. It could absolutely be that they just need more time to work on it. we'll see. Like I said, I don't really have much to say about that. I was just telling you, if you hadn't heard, it's been delayed. XCOM 2, there you go. Alright, an update on Twitch Plays Dark Souls, because as long as this is going on, I'd like to keep you updated every time. As of this moment in time, Friday night, I guess, not evening, Friday night, they are currently in the, they're in the depths, believe it or not. Like, I'm watching it, I'm looking at it right now. They are fighting one of the butchers. They're in the depths. They have beaten the gargoyles, and they are going through the depths. They've been playing for 15 days, 7 hours, 45 minutes. And things are kind of progressing along. Their health bar is really huge. They got a stamina bar. They're level 26. Yeah, they're doing all right. I guess this switch to their delay is ridiculous. It's like a 30-second delay every time they do anything. They also have a death counter coming up. I'll give you a few moments to guess what the death count is at this moment. Alright, the death count is at 489, which is basically what it would be at if Mert was playing the game. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I guess they'll just leave it up, like, because it doesn't really harm anything. They'll just leave it up. They're getting donations, like the top donations for like $165. Yeah, you just gotta set this up, look at it once in a while, and just take in some money. Boom. Twitch Plays Dark Souls. There's 775 viewers. Yeah, crazy shit. The world we live in. Alright, moving on. So, speaking of Twitch, there was a competitor to Twitch launched this week. A fairly large competitor. And that is YouTube Gaming. Which apparently has been in closed beta, I guess you would call it, for some time now. A few months, I think. Couple months. But now it is publicly launched. You can access it yourself at, I'm trying to find the URL. I don't remember. Oh, it's gaming.youtube.com. That's what it is. I'm sorry. And so if you go there, it's much like Twitch. You'll get, you'll see what is the most viewed streams currently going on. As I'm looking at it right now, it is Mike Matei from Cinemassacre playing Mega Man 2. And about 2,000 people are watching him. So it definitely does not have the stretch, the appeal of Twitch. But, I mean, you're not gonna... Can't knock out Twitch in one day. They also kind of... It's a little bit different than Twitch because it's combines with YouTube. So they have the streams going on, and they'll show you the streams that are currently going on. But they'll also show you like gaming videos on YouTube as kind of like almost a hub. So it'll take like your subscriptions and things like that, and it'll say, here, look at these videos from your subscriptions that are about video games. And so you can go to specific games then and see streams for that game that are currently going on, but also like the most popular videos for that game. So that's pretty interesting. YouTube kind of wants to combine everything into just one location, whereas Twitch is pretty much just about streams. They do have saved broadcasts and highlight videos and things like that, but really it's all about the streams over on Twitch. So it makes sense that YouTube wants to combine this because their videos, you know, the fact that they have the videos is their strong point. So you can go, what's going on with Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and then it's like, okay, well, here are the streams that are going on, the most popular ones, the live ones, things like that. But then you can also see, oh, look at these videos, these most popular videos based on the game, and it's all just kind of centralized. And so that's, I mean, it's a monumental task of what they're trying to do, but I guess if anyone has a good chance of it, it would be YouTube and Google doing it. However, they are having some issues with Content ID. So Content ID is basically their automated technology that just scans everything that goes through YouTube servers. So this is videos, of course, and now their streams. Well, I guess it's been the streams for a little while. And so it scans this in pretty much real time. And if it sees something that it doesn't like, that is in its servers, is copywritten, it will flag it. And so apparently, if it catches a copywritten source during your stream, it can just cut it off. During the stream. Just done. You're done. And if you get any Content ID strikes, as I am well aware, you immediately get like a strike on your YouTube account. Well, not immediately, because you are allowed to dispute it. And I've tried to dispute many of them. And I think I've only succeeded like once. Any other time that if you try to dispute it and you lose, then you get a strike against your account. If you get 3 strikes, you're out. You're pretty much screwed. But even a single one, just having one, sucks ass, because you're limited to like 15-minute videos for like 6 months or a year or some ridiculous thing like that. And I assume you can't stream during that time, because I remember being restricted on all sorts of things, to the point where it's just like, okay, make a new account. And, you know, if you just have like 3 subscribers, you know, or whatever, no big deal, I'll just make a new account. But even for me that had 500 subscribers, it was just like, shit. If you have 20,000 or something, you know, more, it's just like, oh my god. So yeah, this is not anything new as far as the Content ID and how bullshit it is, and the whole system is just, there's, you know, nobody ever praises the Content ID system. It's like, oh, thank you, YouTube, for my eyes were about to see copywritten content, but thanks to you and your software, I don't have to live with that burden. No, it's only complaints. It's terrible. It's Nazism. It's what it is. It's like the Fahrenheit 451 of the internet. It's terrible. So, Twitch also does this. You can get shut off midstream during Twitch if you show something you're not supposed to. I have also been party of that by showing the movie Ice Spiders on Twitch, and I got banned for that. I got like real banned. I got perma banned where I couldn't even view streams because I was so banned. I was like IP banned everything. It was ridiculous. They hated me. But Twitch also does a thing where they have like an audio scanning thing that they bought out or something so they could use, and that wasn't real time. They just did it for like highlights and saved broadcasts where if they heard basically any in-game audio or music or anything like that, they would just mute it. They would just mute everything, and so it's pissed off a lot of people. You really only got your stream banned or anything like that if you're really breaking their rules. It's not anywhere near the level that YouTube does. So that's definitely a major strike against YouTube for as far as being a competitor of Twitch. And more reports are coming in about YouTube and the YouTube gaming things and like that for the just automatic strikes, and it's just like there's a point where it's like, why should I bother? You know, what does this really offer to me that, you know, the benefit is worth it? And right now I don't really see a benefit. I guess at this point in time the only potential benefit is the fact that if you try to stream on Twitch as like a relatively unknown person, you're you're like a tadpole in the ocean, is pretty much how it works. Unless you're streaming some obscure stuff that some people really want to watch, but that's unlikely. Whereas on YouTube, you're a small fish in a smaller pond as far as the streaming goes, as well as, in theory, you are automatically, like, the marketing for your stream is done for you through YouTube by just people that are, you know, there's a lot of people just on YouTube. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the potential, but I doubt it. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. I don't really have high hopes for it. I mean, I might try streaming on it, but I don't really stream that much anyways. It doesn't really, and I don't really watch that many streams, so this isn't my forte. Alright, Cliffy B. You guys remember Cliffy B. Everybody remembers Cliffy B. Cliff Bleszinski. If you don't recognize the name, Cliffy B, as he was known, is known, is perhaps most famous in recent years for developing Gears of War. But perhaps his biggest input into the video game history is Unreal Tournament, which is a fairly important franchise. And so Cliffy B was cool because he was kind of a very vocal game developer. Even though I don't like Gears of War, and really I don't even play that much Unreal Tournament. I mean, he's Cliffy B. What are you gonna do? And so now he has left. He's left Epic. Or, I mean, Epic didn't really. Gears of War is just Microsoft at this point, but he left Epic, which did make Gears of War, and so now he's been kind of doing his own thing with a company called Boss Key Productions. And their first game, it has now been properly announced, and it's called Lawbreakers. And it is a free-to-play shooter. I mean, first-person shooter, I assume. And Cliffy B describes the game as vertical, with players having access to grappling hooks, jetpacks, and other devices to get around. Alright, Cliff. This game, you already made it. It's called Unreal Tournament. It was popular a while back, but I don't know if that really flies. What's most interesting to me, and perhaps most perplexing, is the game apparently is being published by Nexon. Nexon is a Korean publisher of free-to-play games. Perhaps their biggest project was MapleStory, which is a free-to-play 2D MMO that some people played. Not me! That's not true, I tried it. I didn't care for it. But there you go. And mostly, yeah, they do a lot of stuff that appeals to kind of the Asian markets. But yeah, they also apparently do Cliffy B's new first-person shooter, because, you know, I don't know. It doesn't really appeal to me. Partly because I never really got into Unreal Tournament. I was a Team Fortress guy. That's what I did. Quake Team Fortress. That's what I was doing in, like, 1999. This sounds a lot like that. This sounds a lot like that. Oh God, what was the name of that game? That it was like a summer arcade game that I played. Nexuiz, that's what it was called. Where it was basically just Unreal Tournament. That's exactly what it was. Because Nexuiz, this is all Unreal Tournament. Cliffy B, what are you doing? Anyways, Lawbreakers, yeah. Okay, final piece of video game discussion. This is not really news. This is about as least news as it gets. But it's in relation to virtual reality. And this is from an article on Kotaku that I read. And it's basically it's a YouTube video from a user named Hoopermation. And he filmed his dad playing through an Apollo 11 virtual reality demo for the Oculus Rift. And I bring this up because the dad, like, it's the background of the video is the demo from the game, like what the dad is seeing, and then there's a little picture-in-picture where you get to see the camera of the dad as he's reacting to it. And you get to hear the dad kind of talking while he's experiencing this, and the son's in the background. And I bring this up, and it's really interesting to me because the dad in the video is just kind of like blown away by the entire experience, to the point where he's like crying because it's so unbelievable. And he says, "I'll never get to do this." I mean, I'm not reading it nearly as emotionally as he said it, but "I'll never get to do this but here. This is incredible. I wanted to do this since I was a kid. I wanted to be an astronaut, son. Look at that. Unbelievable." And for one, it really, I mean, it reminds me of To the Moon, of course. A guy that all he wanted to do is just go into space and experience it, and there's tears everywhere. So it reminds me of that, of course. But also, I mean, this is kind of our future. I've talked briefly about virtual reality before. And yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just kind of us discussing, what does this mean for gaming? How immersive can we get? And, we talked about haptic feedback and, things like that. And we talk about it from a very curious but somewhat cold standpoint. But really, there's the other side of the coin, and that's stuff more like this, where, where basically science fiction becomes reality, where we can have experiences that normally we never would be able to because of technology. And that's not, like, virtual reality is not the first time that technology has made things possible that normally wouldn't be. I mean, obviously. But virtual reality is something that really has the potential to change our existence, I guess. To perhaps overstate it. But also, there's a dark side to that. And it's like, I mean, I know I've been reading a lot of cyberpunk stuff and into that, but you look at a video like this. You look at a guy who, he's a father. He's older, and he gets to just strap on a camera, strap on a headset, and he's basically in space. He's in a space shuttle. And the demo for the Oculus Rift, it's pretty lo-fi. It's not really high quality or anything like that. There's nothing really to it other than audio and video. There's no feel to it or anything like that. But assume it was much more advanced than that. Assume it was actually like you were in the space shuttle. You felt like the leather of the seat. I assume that a space shuttle has leather, because why not? And you could actually feel the control panels and things like that. You could feel almost the weightlessness. I'm going perhaps into almost like immersive reality, but stay with me. So it was like you were there, alright? And so it presents the issue then of, what if this guy was not, 60 years old or whatever, what if he was not an older man that, would never be able to experience? What if this was like an 8-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid, something like that? And he can just strap on, an immersive headset or, plug in or whatever, and boom, he's in the chair. What is the motivation for him to actually try and go through his life with the aspiration of becoming an astronaut and actually going into space. You know, when he can just have the entire experience at home anytime that he wants without any of the work, why do that for real? Now, some people, some kids, whatever, they will always, no matter what is available to them, they will always try. You know, they'll always put in the effort. And these people are rare. You know. But most kids, especially as time goes on and this technology becomes more prevalent, I feel will become less motivated. And that presents kind of an issue. I think the common joke is like the holodeck will be the last invention that we ever make as a species. Because once we have the holodeck, we have basically anything we could ever imagine. We would never need to do anything else. We do whatever the barest of necessities in order to keep the holodeck running, and then that's it. And that perhaps, again, is kind of overstating things, but it's a little scary, to be honest. Not that it, like, is the downfall of our species or anything like that, but I think I really have to quote, I really have to quote Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park, where it's like, we never stopped thinking, you know, we never stopped thinking if we could just, you know, stop and think if we should do something. We just keep improving and moving on technologically as a species without really thinking of the ramifications, because, you know, it's just what it is. We have to keep moving. We have to keep developing things. Partly because of money, because of capitalism, because of things like that, but also because of our inherent curiosity. We need to keep moving on. That's just how our species is. And yeah, I think our own developments will eventually be our downfall. And this got real serious. That was a tangent I was not expecting. I did want to just highlight the video because it was really touching. And I think for reasons like that is why this technology will continue to be developed into just complete immersion. It's touching, but also scary. That got more serious than that's not what the Manggcast is for. Let's move on. Let's move on to the opposite end of the spectrum. We're going to jump into the movie world, and we're going to be talking about Vin Diesel. I love Vin Diesel. I actually like his Facebook page. I like very few Facebook pages. Even less for male actors. I only like Vin Diesel and Stephen Amell. But anyways, Vin Diesel, in 2002, he put out a film. Some of you may have seen. It was called Triple X. Or XXX, but don't call it that. And Triple X was about Vin Diesel playing a character named Xander Cage. Yes. Xander Cage with an X. And he was basically like... He was like a stuntman or some shit. I can look this up. Yeah, he's a thrill-seeking extreme sports enthusiast, stuntman, and rebellious athlete turned reluctant spy for the NSA. And so yeah, he basically blows up a lot of stuff. He looks badass. He mentions PlayStation during the movie. I remember that. And yeah, people die, and it's Vin Diesel, and it's crazy. And Vin Diesel apparently now is going to make a return, and he will become Xander Cage once again. There was a sequel to Triple X. It was called Triple X: The Return. State of the Union. That's what it is. The sequel that he is making now is The Return of Xander Cage. The original sequel to the first movie was called State of the Union, starring not Vin Diesel, but Ice Cube. That movie I never saw and will never see, probably. I doubt it. I really doubt it. But I did see Triple X. Keep in mind, this movie came out when I was 12 years old. And this is important. This is important. Because this movie catered to 12-year-olds. Like, it absolutely did. This guy was like a stuntman. He was like I have a vivid memory of, my memory sucks, but I have a vivid memory of him like shooting a rocket launcher and something and then mentioning PlayStation. He absolutely mentioned PlayStation at some point in that movie. I'm pretty sure after he fired a rocket launcher. And so, I mean, that part must have impacted on me, but the rest of the movie, I have no idea. I have no idea. And so I've never rewatched it. Ever. Oh, here, I found the quote on IMDb. You have a bazooka. Dude, stop thinking Prague Police and start thinking PlayStation. Blow shit up. That is an official quote from Xander Cage, played by Vin Diesel, I swear to God. And so, I was 12 years old when I saw this movie. I'm pretty sure I was 12 or 13. I saw it way back when. And I've never rewatched it. And this movie was made for me. So, like, I guess I have to put 2 and 2 together and just assume that it sucked. Like, it just sucked ass. It had to. If it didn't appeal that much to me as a 12 or 13-year-old kid who loves action movies, like, damn, that movie must have been real bad. I mean, it's rated at 5.8 on IMDb. I guess I should rewatch it at some point, but I don't know. I guess I had no idea who Vin Diesel was at the time. I had no idea. He really hadn't made that much in 2002 when Triple X came out. Like, he had been in Saving Private Ryan, but I definitely didn't see it. I was 8 when that came out. Hell no. He was the voice of the Iron Giant, and I probably saw that, but it's like, okay, I don't know who the guy who voiced the Iron Giant was when I'm 10 years old. And then he came out with Pitch Black, but I didn't see that movie until I was about 15 or 16. As well as Fast and the Furious, which I didn't see until I was like 23. And so I had no idea who he was in Triple X, and it was just like, okay, there's this crazy bald guy, and he's blowing shit up, and he's mentioning PlayStation. That's all I knew. And so I guess what bothers me about this, not only that he is deciding to return to a sequel to a film that was not very good, but also the fact that he would rather do this than make another Riddick movie. I think that bothers me a bit more. Not maybe that he is deciding to do this. Somebody, I mean, he's definitely a part of it. I mean, he's definitely, I guess, pushing for it. But whoever is in charge of this is deciding. I guess it's kind of a broad, like, they're not probably at all connected at all. But it's like, why is Life deciding to make another Triple X movie than not make another Riddick movie? And it's probably because the last Riddick movie was not very good. But the last Triple X movie was terrible. It had Ice Cube in it. Which brings me to an interesting point that I'm curious about if anybody knows a good answer for. How many movies have, like, an original film and then a sequel with a different cast, like a different main character and everything, and then a third sequel, or I guess a second sequel, another movie that brings back the original main character? How many of those are there? Because there can't be that many that go like 1 and then 2 and then back to 1. Like, that's got to be pretty uncommon. So if anybody has a good example, I'm curious. So yeah, damn it, Vin, make another good Riddick movie. Why just that pisses me off, because Pitch Black's like one of my favorite movies of all damn time. And then they're like, well, let's make another Riddick movie, and we'll just copy Pitch Black, but we'll make it kind of shit. you know, because why not? It's like, no, I want another Pitch Black movie, but no, you screwed it up. Anyways. Michael Fassbender. Everybody loves him. It's a very popular name in cinema of late. And this week we got our first look at him in Assassin's Creed, in the proper costume and everything like that. And so you can look it up yourself. I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to show you because I'll probably get content ID nonsense. But if you look it up, or if you've seen it, he's not resembling Altair at all. I would say he's definitely leaning towards Ezio more than anybody. His outfit is blackish, dark grayish. It's very tight. Everything's kind of tight. There's a word I'm looking for. Cinctured? I don't know. It's all kind of strapped together tightly. And he does have dual wrist blades. Which now that I'm trying to remember, I don't remember when that was introduced. That wasn't in Assassin's Creed 1, I know that. Maybe that was Ezio that got that? Damn, that's gonna bug me. It's like, how do I find that shit out? I guess I'd have to look. But anyway, so yeah, he has you see the dual wrist blades. He's got his outfit. And then you see a bit of his face, but not really. Like, I can't even tell it's Michael Fassbender. It could be any guy. And it does kind of look like Desmond. Sort of. I guess that's what they're kind of looking for. And he's playing a new character. They're coming out. They came up with their own new story for the movie, which makes sense. I mean, that's really the only logical way to do it. And he's playing a character named Callum Lynch. And 20th Century Fox put out a new plot description for the film. Callum is able to experience the adventures of his ancestor, Alguiar, in 15th century Spain through the use of revolutionary technology that unlocks his genetic memories. The games refer to this as the Animus. It's through these memories that he discovers he is a descendant of a secret society called the Assassins, whose rivals are the Knights Templar. In the games, the Templars are trying to find the location of several mystical artifacts called Pieces of Eden, whose power will help the organization control mankind and alter fate. I don't know if part of that was from, like, the website, or I don't have the official release description, but anyways. So yeah, 15th century Spain is where it's going to be taking place. Which, 15th century was the same time as Assassin's Creed 2. Like, that was Ezio and doing that. Oh, that was 15th century as well. That took place in, of course, Italy. Spain and Italy. It's like the same thing. So, yeah, they're looking more towards Assassin's Creed 2 more than any of the other games. Which makes sense, because that was the best one. Except for 4. So they say that, you know, they're of course they're using the games as inspiration. Of course they are. But it's worrying how this is going to turn out, you know. Because, I mean, that's how it is for any video game to movie adaptation. Because it's just two different mediums. You know, it's just... But what it really comes down to is, what do we like about the Assassin's Creed story? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. There's going to be action. There's going to be assassinating and all that. There's going to be slick moves, I guarantee it. But, I don't know. I've never really been crazy about the story of it. And so I think... I don't know. I can't see them going that far with, like, Pieces of Eden and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, they're going to use the Knights Templar versus the Assassins as, you know, these rivals and things like that. And I imagine they are going to introduce modern day stuff, because the movie is not going to... It's not all going to be in 15th century Spain. There's no way they're doing that. I think it's going to kind of switch back and forth. Like, he might learn how to do stuff in 15th century Spain, but I think, like, the climax of the movie is probably going to be in modern day. They're going to show, like, you know, this rivalry from way back when the, you know, these assassins and these Templar are fighting each other. Like, that's still going on, but they use technology, and, you know, it's modern day with corporations. You know, that's what they're going to show. I like, you know, I love Michael Fassbender. He's a great pick for pretty much anything. So I'm very curious about the movie, but I'm also really worried, like most video game movies. Speaking of another thing I'm worried about, Blade. This is pretty minor news, but I'm going to mention any news ever regarding Blade. So, yeah. According to Marvel, or sources close to Marvel, they are apparently thinking about a new Blade film in which the main character will not be Blade. Yeah, just think about that sentence for a moment. The main character in the new Blade film will not be Blade, but in fact will be his daughter. And I didn't even know he had a daughter. But apparently they like just revealed this recently as part of like some new comic lineup, where he does have a daughter who is named Fallon Gray. Fallon Gray. And yeah, that's like all I know about it. Is just, okay, she's like a quarter vampire or some shit, I don't know. And we don't really have a whole lot of information about that. We know Wesley Snipes has been, well, he's been saying that he's been meeting with Marvel about, you know, bringing back Blade, you know, in a feature film and things like that. But this is the first time that we're hearing that maybe he won't be the lead of the movie and it'll be some new daughter, a female lead that is not Blade, but will probably be called Blade. To that I say no. I know why they might want to do this. They might want to do this because of feminism. Which perhaps is sexist for me to even suggest that. I don't know about the whole PC world. I don't know how it works. But to suggest, I guess, that the only reason that they would actually use a female lead is because of women demanding that they use female leads is perhaps sexist. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. Regardless, if it was his son, I would still say no. Like, if it was anybody, I would say no. The main character of a Blade movie is fucking Blade. That's it. That's how it works. That's why it's called Blade, and it's Wesley Snipes. End of the deal. You can have a kid, a sidekick, whatever, in the movie, and he can teach them, and they can fight together, whatever. But the movie's called Blade, and it's about Blade. It's about Wesley Snipes. Now, what they should do is, like, after credits scene of Doctor Strange, you just have, you know, something crazy happen, and then you just, like, see, like, a dude just get, like, sliced up from, like, slightly off camera, and you just see, like, the body hit the floor and then, like, explode, and then Wesley Snipes just comes out decked out and all his shit, and he's just like, some motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill, and it's just like, oh! They won't do that ever. Never. But I want to live in the universe, in the multiverse, whatever, the dimension where that actually happens. That would be great. It won't, but it would be great. Alright, so finally, let's get to our weird piece of news for the week. The article, the news article for this is actually, it's about a release date for the movie. Like, it's about, like, a weird release date. But the weird part of this was actually that this movie exists and is being made. Which I didn't know about until they brought it to my attention just now. But there is a movie that decided to set its release date for December 16th, 2016. Which, if you don't know, and I'm not sure if I really knew, is the release date of the first standalone Star Wars spin-off-ish movie, Rogue One, which is about a bunch of rebels between Episode 3 and Episode 4, where they try to steal the Death Star plans, and they do steal the Death Star plans. It's interesting. I like that they're doing it. It's going to be a big thing because it has the word Star Wars at the start of it. It's going to be a real big deal. So the fact that any movie would release the same weekend as that is pretty ballsy. However, this is the weird part. The movie that is being released that weekend is Chicken Soup for the Soul. Yeah. If that name has, like, no recollection or no effect on you at all, I'm going to explain. Chicken Soup for the Soul was a book that came out, oh man, 1993 something. And what it is basically like a collection of like anecdotes or like short stories or essays and, you know, motivational stuff. It's basically just like, you know, motivational posters, but as stories. And so it's called Chicken Soup for the Soul. It was a bestseller, and after they put out the first book, they put out a lot of other books. And this shit was everywhere. Like, I don't know if your personal experience includes this, but for me, that shit was everywhere. Like, for my memory, this was like the bathroom book. Like, every bathroom that I went in as kind of like an adolescent, there was some version of Chicken Soup for the Soul in that bathroom that you could look at. Because women just ate that shit up. It's like, oh my god, it's so touching. And just, man, it gives me hope. And it's just like, ugh, Chicken Soup for the Soul. And they apparently put out just boatloads of these books. And they would do Chicken Soup for the blank soul. And just for fun, I'm going to read you some of the titles of the books that they came out with. Chicken Soup for the adopted soul. Chicken Soup for the baseball fan's soul. Chicken Soup for the beach lover's soul. Chicken Soup for the soul cartoons for dads. I don't even know what that's about. Chicken Soup for the cat lover's soul. Chicken Soup for the child's soul. Chicken Soup for the coffee lover's soul. As if their soul is that much different than everybody else's. Actually, it might. Chicken Soup for the Canadian soul. I think that is literally just a picture of the maple leaf. I think that is the whole book. Chicken Soup for the chiropractic soul. Chicken Soup for the soul Christmas magic. I can't wait till that movie comes out straight to DVD. Chicken Soup for the dental soul. Chicken Soup for the fisherman's soul, of course. Chicken Soup for the gardener's soul. Chicken Soup for the golfer's soul. Chicken Soup for the horse lover's soul. Chicken Soup from the soul of Hawaii. Chicken Soup for the Indian teenage soul. Very important. Oh, this is great. Like, some of these are just so much, like, just straight to DVD titles. Chicken Soup for the soul, kids in the kitchen. Chicken Soup for the Latter-day Saints soul. Chicken Soup for the soul in menopause. Chicken Soup for the mother of preschoolers soul. That's very specific. That book is only good for about 1 year, and then, yeah, you move past. Here's a good one. Chicken Soup for the NASCAR soul. Chicken Soup for the network marketer's soul. Chicken Soup for the ocean lover's soul. Chicken Soup for the preteen soul. And the acclaimed sequel, Chicken Soup for the Preteen Soul 2. Chicken Soup for the prisoner's soul. That's standard issue in most prisons. in the Illinois area. Chicken soup for the recovering soul. Chicken soup for the shopper's soul. Aren't most of us shoppers at one point in time or another? Chicken soup for the sports fan soul. Chicken soup for the soul. Stories for a better world. Chicken soup for the soul. Teens talking faith. Okay, here you go. Here's a string of them. Chicken soup for the teenage soul. Chicken soup for the teenage soul 2. Chicken soup for the teenage soul 3. Chicken soup for the teenage soul 4. Chicken soup for the teenage soul personal organizer. Chicken soup for the teenage soul on love and friendship. Chicken soup for this teenage soul on tough stuff. Chicken soup for the teenage soul, the real deal challenges. Chicken soup for the soul, unlocking the secrets to living your dreams. Chicken soup for the unsinkable soul. Chicken soup to inspire a woman's soul, but there's also chicken soup for the woman's soul. What's the difference? A second chicken soup for the woman's soul. Chicken soup for the woman golfer's soul. Now that's very important. If you are a female golfer and you pick up chicken soup for the golfer's soul, you fucked up. You fucked up real time. You, god damn it, you needed chicken soup for the woman golfer's soul, and now your soul's going straight to hell. So, I'm curious on which one of these they will adapt to the silver screen. I'm really curious. I mean, personally, I'm banking on chicken soup for the Indian teenage soul. That's the one I'm hoping to see, but it could be any of them. It could be just about any of them. All right. So final thing then, I would like to start a new thing for the Manggcast where I do Mangg's movie recommendation of the week. As long as I remember to recommend a movie each week. I was actually going to do this like earlier on, but I'll do it right now. So my first Mangg's movie recommendation of the week is Frailty. It's a 2002 film starring Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey. This is before the reconnaissance, but still a good film. And it's basically about a father who lives in kind of a rural area. And he's a single father who lives with his 2 sons. And he tells them that he has been given a mission from God to find demons and slay them with his holy axe. And so one of the sons believes him wholeheartedly, 100%. And the other son thinks that he might just be murdering people with an axe. And so the story kind of flashes back between the kids as young children and Matthew McConaughey as an adult, as the kind of non-believing son, telling the police this whole story. And it's really an interesting film. There is kind of a twist in it. I won't really tell you. But it's such kind of a unique premise. And it was really... It's one of those movies that really kind of sticks with you. Like, you won't forget it. You won't really ever forget about Frailty. It's got a unique premise. It's well made. It's actually directed by Bill Paxton. So he stars and directs. He didn't write it. It was written by the guy who wrote the story for An American Tail, as well as Child's Play. So, you know. So yeah, that's Mangg's movie recommendation of the week. Check it out, Frailty. It's an interesting one. Alright, so that's going to wrap things up for this week. We talked about stuff. We got real heavy. I know, we got real serious in the middle of the podcast. I apologize for that. But I healed it. We got chicken soup for the for the nihilistic soul. It's all good. So, yeah. Alright. My name is Mangg. This has been the Manggcast for August 29th, 2015. And I'll see you fine folks next week.